Hello and hey, today we're messing around with Path of Exile. This time I'm going to be making a Winter Orb preliminary guide. This will be my league starter, and I'm going to be using the Elementalist Ascendancy in the Witch class. I'm not going to be using the Occultist, although that is rightfully one of the most popular choices for this build, with the changes to Void Beacon and Frigid Wake. Look at all that juicy text. But as a league starter, and like I said, personal playstyle, I'm going to be choosing the Elementalist for some triple Herald action and just ailment spreading goodness. So, scrolling on out, this is what we're looking at for the entirety of the tree. This is a level 92 build. I did focus on the Bandit of Alira as a league starter just because of the resists, the mana regen. The crit multiplier will be nice, although I will be using Elemental Overload for a portion of this playthrough. So that's just sort of something to keep in mind. I would go over step by step exactly where to go, but I think it really is up to the player themselves and what they want at the time of doing it. So there's a lot of different choices that you can make, even starting up as early as possible. You can choose to go for cast speed instead of spell damage. Totally viable, especially while using a channeling skill. You would want that. It makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of things that you might want to regret out of here, like this. If you don't find anything on early dexterity, this is a great node to pick up, but we can regret all of that out and maybe pick some dexterity up here, for example. There's tons of changeable things. Obviously, you need to adapt the build to be to your gear and what you like. So this is just sort of the overview. I will go ahead and remake the tree now as we stand here. That way we can kind of talk a little bit more about it. I don't want to leave everybody completely in the dark. Like, here's a build. Look at it. Great. So go ahead and start up a new one. Watch as I click on my screen. Go ahead and zoom all the way in so we can really see what's happening here. I'm going to be opting for the spell damage at this decision point before heading over to mana and life. From that point, we'll snake our way up the cold tree, and if we found no dexterity, I would like to allocate a couple points into this, plus the 40% chance to avoid interruption, like if you DC, or if you accidentally flame dash in the middle of an entire pack that now is eating the rest of your flame dashes. This will be nice to have. So from there, we do want to jump up into the next life, before heading over into the cold nodes. We'll be temporarily passing over this jewel socket, as you probably won't have a jewel by this point in time. At least not if it's your league starter. If it isn't your league starter, get this immediately. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and grab these. There's no reason not to grab everything unless you're playing like a elemental focus build that doesn't want any of these juicy things. But even then, you're already here, so it makes a lot of sense. Guess I didn't need to make that point. We will grab this jewel node at this point just so we don't forget to allocate it. And from here, this is pretty core. You can kind of do whatever you'd like. However, I'm going to go focus on a little bit of defense before heading up to Elemental Overload. So because we're probably going to be rolling with controlled destruction, we're going to have that reduced critical strike chance. It was more consistent damage, or higher damage even, to have this particular node. We're going to be regretting that later. Like literally Orb of regretting that later as we switch to a more single target, hopefully focused type of thing, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And I went this way instead of the shorter way because we can also grab this damage and mana regen and effective chill as kind of just little bonuses, as we probably will get our first ascendancy by this point. So at some point, we are going to want to grab these area of effect sort of things and head off to the right direction. However, left side is where I'm just going to focus first. It's kind of up to you if you want to go like get these 3, 4, 5 points and then head over here and grab these 4 points. That's entirely up to you. I'm going to focus more on the left side to kind of make it simple. So we're going to go ahead and start that over. From this particular node, we're going to come down here and get all of these, including the life. It's important. We get some cast speed, we get some damage. The life's always important. We're going to jump up here for this particular elemental damage, and we get tons of goodness for our ailments, for our damages, and our elemental resistances, all in one tasty node. We're going to pop up for this one for a little bit of spell damage, a little bit of cast speed, a little bit of critical strike chance. This is like a huge reason of why we would come directly through here. Our main goal is to end up in this particular node, but these are excellent choices for our particular build. So we will head down, grabbing even more life as we pass through, before heading up for the damage first. And you should be getting your that next ascendancy at right around this point if you come this direction, I believe. Yeah. So you'll be getting that right about then. This will be excellent synergy between all of that stuff, and this will really make you feel like you're doing a ton of damage, CC, that sort of thing. So bouncing off of that side, we will come over to the right side, and the pathing here is a little bit shakier. It's clearly not what we want. There isn't as much obvious choice to make on this side of the tree. However, while we're here, I actually skipped over something. My apologies. We do want to grab at least these 2 nodes. My apologies. Probably that one. We can leave it off for now, but you definitely want these 2. I guess these 2 is also fine, but you get my point. So as we head up to this side of the tree, we do want to grab some more area effect. We think it's not clearly known exactly what's happening with Winter Orb, but this is most likely also any area of effect will affect like our cold snaps, like the frostbite I have attached to that. Just the different active skill gems that we're going to be taking and using efficiently with that. So heading even further, we probably want to grab this cast speed, but not necessarily right away. I mean, maybe right away. It's up to you, but we're trying to speed run over and grabbing this life and energy because it's a little bit more efficient than this gross looking path. We're trying to speed run. Sorry, got lost 3 different thoughts there. Trying to speed run over to this particular node because we really want the effects of enemies become chilled as they unfreeze. It'll keep everybody super locked in place. It'll be really helpful. And then all just like the wonderful crowd control effects that all of these things have. The 6% cold damage over time in 2 different nodes is just way too expensive for us. It's not a focus of our build, so I'm going to go ahead and leave those. Even though we came all the way over here, it kind of sucks to leave those, but it's going to be fine for our purposes. So we could come down here and grab these particular. We have 2 points to get here, so I think this is probably a decent way to path through here. We'll go ahead and snake down, and this grabs 1 extra point. So if we need the strength, go through this way, but if you don't need the strength, we go through the other way. It's a little dirty down here, but as we grab these nodes, I think this is going to be the point where I start talking about single target damage, which you'll need to have had before now, but I'm just like talking as it comes to me here, trying to keep it as succinct as I possibly can. Doing my best. So when we want to Orb of Regret the Elemental Overload off, and we want to start kind of getting our crit chance and multiplier. Multiplier is hard to come by, as you are well aware. There's almost no better efficiency of points than these 2 points right here for 50% strike chance plus 35% critical strike multiplier. It's excellent. And because we want to jump up in here and grab some of this damage, it's even more crit strike chance. Getting this damage at any point in time is also very good. It's let's see, 43% for us, and then we also would like to get 54% more of multi. So this is a nice little cluster of nodes for us as we come up to level 89. I have 3 more points to spend for my build here, so I'll go ahead and throw them into cast speed. Get us up to 92, which is as high as I'm really willing to go for a build guide. Before we start talking about it, I don't think this is anywhere near perfect. I'm not super happy with it yet. I feel like maybe this pathing should be different. We can maybe skip over this node. That sort of thing. Lots of decisions to be made, and we need to see the skill actually in action before we start making definitive statements as well. So this is going to be the skill. I will have it linked down in the path of building. I changed it a little bit, as you may have saw from the first one. I did go this way previously, as opposed to this way. So it's just sort of up to you. We do drop a level that way, but I kind of like what we get out of it. So again, up to you. We maybe change it for an area of effect node, that sort of thing. Anyway, tons of choices. Personalize it. Always recommend that. So, as I switch over to my other window, we have... Oh, nice. We have, yeah. What should I talk about first? Okay, let me talk about the skills that we're not going to be using first. So the wand or the shield, this doesn't matter. They're all blue skills. We're kind of just throwing our leftovers. We want clarity. That's going to be absolutely crucial with the amount of mana that we're going to be losing off of the Herald reserves, even with that, even with the ascendancy point giving us less. It's only 18.5% less, or so, 18.75%. I could do math. We're going to have the summon lightning, and then Frostbomb is only here as a utility spell. I know it could be done for great damage if you really spec into like a cold burst sort of situation, but like I just like this to get rid of 25% of cold resistance. That's why it's here. The shield is to have our flame dash faster casting, and then we're not going to level it up all the way. We're always going to keep the Arcane Surge threshold under the cost of Flame Dash so that we can get that 13% or 12 to 13% more damage, which is more damage, not just increased damage. So it's a greater multiplier. It goes against the total damage. So the higher you get, the better this is. And then from there, we do want to talk about, I'm just scrolling at this point, we do want to talk about our heralds. They're kind of a given when you take the ascendancy node that I did, and they just kind of give us flat damage of fire. Well, the fire gives us our physical damage, and then we get the burning overkill damage. So that one's the least flat, and I said it first, and my apologies, but we get the ice damage and we get the lightning damage with the effects that each of these give. Because we don't want to have too many skills, and our skill bar is like full as I'm talking about it right here, we don't have too many spaces to really do stuff with, so having these sort of passive but very impactful damages increases are going to be great for us. Arctic Armor is probably the most suspect thing on this entire list. That's why I have the multiple question marks after it. I don't know what I want to be doing with it. The slot is, because with the mana that I've given you on the tree, you will not have enough. You will have to have mana gear to get this. So I don't recommend it necessarily. It's just something that I thought maybe we could go with. I'm probably forgetting something super obvious that is much better, like a haste or something like that, but I just don't know if we can actually swing that. We might need to have like a Vol Clarity, that way we can actually use that sort of stuff for like a brief amount of time. I don't know. I'm theory crafting too much on the fly. Don't need to do that. One of the biggest things that we have about this build as we get into the main course of this entire thing. The Cold Snap is going to be huge for us. We do have a lot of those damage over time multipliers, and when it comes to the new support gem, the Bone Chill, we're going to be hitting just insane amounts of damage for just a 4 thing that we have a connection on. So we have the Cold Snap, we're going to have all of our damage, we're going to be able to inflict the Frostbite Curse, and then on top of that, we're going to have the chilled bonuses that Cold Snap brings, and plus we'll be able to get these Frenzy charges so we can constantly cast it. Like if we're around corners or whatever, if our Winter Orb isn't going to be able to hit it, if our Ice Spears aren't going to be able to hit it, that's what we're going to be able to just kind of just plop down the Cold Snaps, Cold Snap, Cold Snaps. And if people get on top of you, you pop that Vol Cold Snap, or you run through a pack to kind of clean it up while your Winter Orb's going on it as it freezes everything around you. I think it's great synergy for the build, and that's why I really like it. So I did kind of skip over I'm not sure if it's going to work, but I want to give it a try, so this is what I'm going for. I want to go with the multiple Ice Spear totems. We're going to plop down 2 at a time. And just the base crit things that you're getting from the ability itself, I feel like will definitely help in a single target. It won't be like this great damage increase, but it'll definitely help kind of focus things down. If it focuses ads, that happens, but like that's just part of the game. We just need it to be shooting things, because the biggest problem that there is for self-casters, obviously, is having to stand there because you're not freezing the boss. You can't freeze the boss. Not like realistically freeze the boss where they can't move for a long period of time. You have to set up all your curses and stuff like that before you can start really going ham on them again. So I think that Winter Orb being active and then having the Ice Spears constantly shooting them will start to bring up that single target damage a bit. It's not going to be this revolutionary thing, I don't believe, not unless Winter Orb is like way crazier than I've really kind of theorized it to be. However, I've been rambling for a really long time, and you guys just wanted to hear about this stuff. So you've seen this on screen. You've seen the passive tree. You've seen all the different directions you can go for it. I may talk some sort of leveling guide through the build itself, or I might write something up to kind of be a better indicator of when you can grab all of these skill gems, like when exactly you can actually get them. That'll be a great little side piece if someone wants it. However, if they don't, that's fine as well. So, as I usually end these videos, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and be safe, guys.